What a major pain in the backside with the sound. I don't know what it is with OBS lately, but it seems like it just seems to love to not send the sound. So, hello everybody, welcome. Thank you very much for all the waiting people. Yeah, Alex has signed him. Oh my god, let's not get onto that topic. Ah, dear. What a day. Yep, interesting day. Some people have obviously got time to do other things in their lives than work. So, good for them. Let's see. We, on the other hand, have to slave away because we're failures, and because we're failures, we have to work. Okay, what have we got? Well, we'll start with the classic today. Nothing like a nice, cheap, healthy start off to the repair day by getting a 1980. What is this? 1466. The only trouble with the 1466s now, I mean, they've always been great machines, is that they're getting to the point where they really are just dying randomly from age. And so the faults that are coming out, you really can't do much about. If you're wondering why I'm all blah, I just spent all afternoon mowing lots and lots of grass. And so, when you've worked out quite a bit, it takes a little while for the lactic acid to get out of your arms and legs. So we'll just take it a little bit calm. Ed Boss, B Blood. Let's see, what's this say? Believe you described Paul's new flux made golden badger. What? Did I miss something here? A3X. I see you always thumbing up. And can anyone recommend tacky flux that doesn't just boil off? Keep replying. Yeah, I'm still experimenting with Tim's. It is a bit of a quick boil off. It's a clean flux. I'll definitely give it that, and it works well. But compared to, say, the Amtech 5599, you do need to apply it a little bit more. But it's not that volatile that as soon as you go over it with heat, it evaporates. It works well. It doesn't seem to... it doesn't suffer from splaying from the incoming air blast as much as the 559 does the Amtech. The Amtech, if you have a blob on there and you put the hot air over it, it will tend to splay out very quickly. It doesn't seem to hold itself in place, whereas Tim's flux does tend to stay more consistent there. Hey, Dreams and PR. Sivlu. Oh, yes. No, he's doubling down. He believes he's helping. At least he says that. There's not much you can do about that. And I know about the video. I haven't watched the video. I don't care to watch the video. I have no interest in watching the video. I think one round is more than enough. I've had my response, and actually my response basically still stands. I have been informed of the various things said, and whatever. I've got... if I want help from somebody, I will go and ask for help, or I'll watch people of whom I feel I resonate with, of whom project the same sort of values that I want to project. So, and it doesn't really matter on their skill levels or how long they've been on YouTube or anything like that. Like, say, Joey Does Tech, he's fairly new onto the scene and all that, but I was quite taken by the approach he had and just the style of everything he was doing. So I actually looked into how he was doing things, and I tried to see if I can remodel myself a little bit around that. So basically, if I want help, I will go and find people of whom I respect in the way that I want to be respected, to go and pick and choose my bits and pieces that I want from there. So that's pretty much how it comes down to. I don't want it thrust upon me. I will ask. I'm not a voiceless kid. It's like, if I need help, I will ask for it. Or I'll go and sneak around, try to find my way through. Please do watch it. I don't think I will. No. There's no point. You see, you have to understand that the reason why there is a reciprocated video now is because it is very much what he wants to happen, because it creates a lot of views, it creates a lot of chatter on the YouTube algorithm. It's very beneficial for him. And so, no, he does not want that to stop, and understandably. And if I was in his position and I was trying, my business was tied up very strongly in YouTube and my success was tied up in YouTube, then that is exactly the sort of thing that I would try to do. Ethically, I can't do that. It's just not, there's a barrier in my head that stops me from taking that particular route. But for those who can, it works, and it works very well. Careful you start talking slower. That's an old age thing, I'm afraid. I don't know how old Soren is. I think he's roughly my age. But it is something that happens as you get older. You do tend to pause internally in your head and try to think, okay, I can say this, I can say this. This is going to cause this reaction. That's going to cause, which way do I want to go? That's a small portion of it. The other portion of it is you just simply go and wait for the word to come to your head, because your brain just works a bit slower. Hey Joey, you missed me lamenting about you. In a good way. Okay, so what is wrong with this? I don't know. No one ever puts faults on my jobs, and I don't break enough fingers for people to put faults on my jobs, because I'm just a little pushover. I'd only ever paint you in a good light, Joey. For now. For now. Things might turn to the dark side later. Okay, so this is MagSafe 2. 163, 170, deadpan. Not good. Very not good. Hey Lutak, welcome. Yeah, Martin, that's basically it. There's the temptation if you want to roll around in that sort of stuff. But these people are far more skilled in it, and they've got the talent for it. You're never going to come out ahead with these people. You just don't. You never do. And let them run their life. That's their business. They want to be like that. That's their choice. I don't disparage them for it or anything like that. They're being themselves. I'm being myself. It's just interesting when people try to come to you to try and morph you into what they feel like you should be, as opposed to going, you are what you are, and letting it be. It's a little different if you're kind of impacting on other people's lives, like if you're running people over on the road, unless they're vivisectors, in which case, go ahead, run them over. Back up to a couple of times just to make sure. It's just live and let live sort of thing. Oh, we got a green light. Now what? Still got the 170 though. Hey Dan, yes, as you get older you do tend to appreciate the quiet life. I mean, when I was younger I was in the thick of it, particularly around the Y2K. God, money was money, parties, all sorts of things were you just throw it at each other. It was a great time. But it was an extremely exhausting time, and you didn't actually realize the impact it had on you until after it. When the whole Y2K thing was finished, and everybody was just like, okay, well, what now? And then all the companies just started collapsing. We had the dot-com era, and that just imploded on itself. And so a great many of us went from being filthy rich to living out of cardboard boxes very quickly. That money just evaporated. God knows where that money went, I don't know, but it was a lot of it, and it disappeared very quickly. Some people got rich, some people stayed rich, some people it completely broke. People just went along and they just quit their careers and became grocers and things like that. It was a fun time, but it certainly had a lot of impact on a lot of people. Keep it in your land, that's pretty much it, yeah. Yeah, the Soren slow thing I thought was kind of amusing. Yeah, Soren has his own way of doing things, and it's different. I think in terms of diagnostic capabilities and things like that, and being able to work his way through a circuit. Soren obviously has tremendous skill and experience in that sort of thing, and it shows. His tooling and his methods, like knocking off the way he does that may not necessarily be everybody's cup of tea, but he obviously understands what he's doing with the work. And it's a far more dynamic and broad understanding with a lot of depth too than what other people have. Other people. If you look at what I do, I'm sort of like, well, it's not a short, it's not an obvious crack cap. I can't seem to work it out in 10 minutes. I toss it. And for me, that's predominantly based on the fact that I don't want to get bogged down into rabbit holes too much. My rabbit holes are trying to work out the bugs in my software or creating new features in my software. That's where I spend my rabbit hole time. I will get caught every now and then on one of these if it's a particularly interesting one, like say you get a CD3215 port that hits 20 volts and works but all the rest don't, which is extremely counter to the standard expectation when it comes to CD3215s. I'll dig into something like that to try and find a new piece of information that may be able to help everybody, because it's a common problem, and it'd be nice if we could isolate one side or one chip and have the board running for things like data recovery, if nothing else. I've actually used to have a bounty up for that to try and see if someone could come up and answer. I was going to throw $1,000 at them, but it kind of didn't happen, so I've closed that one off. So anyway, the point is, Soren clearly has plenty of skill, more skill in his little finger than most, so he does him. Hey, Rugers, don't worry about the NRF thing. It's there are times when people will say things on the internet or just Facebook, anything, and it gets under your skin, and you lie in bed and you're like, oh, you churn over that discussion a lot. I am one of those sort of people. I reprocess that kind of thing a lot. It's a bit of a weakness in many ways when it comes to dealing with social media or interacting with other people. And a little bit of that happened with the first one, but honestly, with the second one, it's just like, I kind of felt like doing a video of titling it my response to NRF, and I essentially was just going to have the camera pointing over here and nobody would be here, and that would be it. Okay, I know I've missed a few people here. I'm sorry about that. Dan's got a similar one. Stuck at 5 volt, booting, slow charging, and sleep off. Yeah. It's much better to have a slow, fast, dead cap. Move on. Get the money. Move on to the next job. Hey, gadgets clink. Good. Except now we've got this bizarro thing going on here. Alright, anyone want to throw some ideas? Interesting. The SSD's a lot hotter than it should be. Just been putting my hand on there, and that SSD is hotter than it should be. Which is interesting because this particular model of SSD, the ones with this M logo on them, as opposed to the Samsungs, has typically been a very durable SSD, and for a long time we were trying to make sure that if you're going to get an S1466, you'd get one of these particular SSDs. By the way, this is a 3437 logic board. It's not a 165, so it's the earlier edition. What is this? This is a 128. $2460. I mean, obviously the guy is perfectly skilled in doing YouTube. He's got a business that he runs. I got nothing to say about that. I'm just not looking for his help. How many coffees did I have? 3 half coffees today. I only have half coffees, so it's 1.5 coffees, I suppose. I mean, there might not be anything wrong with this, but it is very unusual. Interesting. We've got a bit of stuck. That piece of black crap there shouldn't normally be there. Hey, Miles. Do you want to do an SMC, Mile? I know you do. You love them. SMCs are your bread and butter. I guess we'll take this out. Is this a DR? DR. Data recovery job. Oh no, if it was a data recovery job, yeah, I'd just put this into one of the, what do you call it? Yeah, you get the adapters for the 1612 type drives like that. No, this is stuck on 100. What was it stuck on? 100 and something milliamps. Not going anywhere. Now we did get the MagSafe light up, so SMC may be coming up. You know what I do want to try, just before I take it out completely. I want to see if it behaves itself now that the SSD is out. Now these 3437s, they will do a on-off type business. Okay, there we go. It's not kicking the fan spin, that's interesting. Hey ITC. So the 3437 should start up by running the fan, then shutting it down in about 2 seconds, then running it again and shutting it down, and then finally running, everything comes up. It's probably the only Macbook that I know that does that kind of strange pattern for whatever reason. The subsequent 165 certainly didn't do it, and it is intentional that it does it, but I'm not sure what it's doing. I guess just evaluating things, checking things. By the way, I received my 140 watt Apple charger today, and I've got these are 240 watt cables from Apple, although these are Mophie brand. So this is a 1 meter length, and then I have a 2 meter length coming from the 140 watt brick up there. It feels nice, and be interesting to see how it behaves when we get something like a MagSafe 3 machine, and see if we can get it up to 28 volts. 70 milliamps less. That's interesting. So I guess the question is going to be, is something going on that's holding that SSD into a kind of like a standby, not a standby, but yeah. I say we just take it out, have a look at visually. That's always usually our first port of call. It'd be interesting to see what specification this is as well, because if it's a low spec one like 1.4 or 1.3 and 4 gigs, then yeah, I've got plenty of those. For this problem, check Q8150. That's the where is it? Can't remember. It's that one or that one. I think it's that one there. Hey, Catherine. Ugh. Oh, brilliant. This is just brilliant. There we go. Oh, why that one had to be difficult. There's a lot of spluttering. Oh, yeah. Oh, we got corrosion all over the back of it. You've seen the AMOE Universal Magnetic Base? Nope. There's a lot of things I haven't seen. And once again, we've got a FRP. And this is a 1.34, so this may actually just be quicker for me to replace. Like I said, there's plenty of corrosion on the back here. Enough for everybody. You get some corrosion. You get some corrosion. Everybody gets some corrosion. Obviously not right there, but BIOS is completely jacked up. That could be a broken line there. I think that's mossy. I think our HS105 might be okay. But yeah, a 1.34, this, and yeah, that sticker means FRP. FRB rather. So it could be just that the BIOS is out of action, so it just sits there and does nothing. It spends all its boot time calling out, hello, hello, anybody there? Yeah. And this VREG, I'm pretty sure you're a VREG. Yeah. You'd think after all these years, I don't know, 1466 is off by heart. But you don't. Okay, 3437. Okay, so that's RAM supply. What did I say? Well, the bottom one. I was wrong. It's clock. No, chip select. Okay, so chip select might be broken there. Okay. We'll get it fixed up. We'll get it fixed up for the entertainment value. Believe me, it's not going to be anything more than that. Realistically, this probably should never have been sent to me. Yeah, if you're running a shop on this sort of thing, yeah, you have a failed 1466. Unless it is actually one of the last, like the 1.8 8 gig type ones, then it's really not worth sending in. And even that's becoming borderline now. See how this stuff gets right under the coating and just makes it crumble away. So the geckos have got something to say today. Yeah, with the NRF thing, I think the biggest thing that shocks me is when you look at the comments and everybody goes on as if he is the victim of some sort of combined attack. And it just makes me laugh. It's like, how is he the victim? He's the one that went out there and started lighting fires under everything. Of course, they justify it by saying, oh, you know, he was just trying to help him. It's like, no, he was not. If you believe that, then there's a lot of things I can sell you. I got some cheap Chinese tools I can give you a markup price, 1,000 times markup. There is no way he gets to claim to be a victim here. It's like, if you go to try and destroy a hornet's nest and you get bitten, that's on you. Especially if the hornets weren't doing anything in the first place other than just simply existing. Which, funnily enough, is what we have around here a lot. We have a lot of wasp nests, hornets nests, everything. They never bite us. The only time they might attack us is if we literally run into their nest, or we're chopping down something that happens to have their nest in it and we didn't see it. And in which case, I think Alita got struck the other day by a couple of wasps. But for some reason, when they attack you, it actually makes you laugh. I mean, it hurts like hell, but you also laugh at the same time. I don't know why, but it gets me every time. Okay, so one of the big culprits here is that we've got a break on this line here. That test pad just vanished. This is one of the first things that created the gold rush for MacBook repairs, courtesy of Lewis Rossman. Is his earliest videos were often of him just going along to these kind of boards, 1466s and similar, and he would just look for corroded test pads like that, and he'd scratch them away, and sure enough, you'd have a line break. He'd patch it up, and boom, it'd work again. And that fueled such a massive gold rush of everybody wanting to be MacBook repairers. And just to clarify, I don't think anyone has said otherwise, but I was actually doing laptop repairs, board level repairs, for a good number of years before I stepped into MacBook repairs. It was quite reluctant that I got into MacBook repairs. There was someone who came along, they had a 1286, and they wanted it repaired, and I said, look, I've got no information on this or anything like that. And it was just in a passing comment, someone said to me, oh, you should check out this Rossman guy. He does MacBooks, maybe that might help. And I was very reluctant to do that. And I ended up finding the schematics and board views for the MacBooks. And I managed to fix it. And after I fixed it, I thought, I'll go see what this Rossman guy is about. And yeah, it's pretty much the rest is history, as they say. I remember doing crazy trace routing on broken GPU systems on Dell laptops, just trying to get various lines back that are corroded away. I wasn't doing BGA reball or anything like that. I didn't have a microscope or anything at that time. It was all just back when my eyes were pretty good. At that time, I was just finishing up doing all my manufacturing work with model aircraft, all the electronics manufacturing I was doing back then. I was transitioning into fixing more laptops again. Okay, so we need a replacement resistor for that. The most difficult trace repair I've attempted was a MacBook M1 Pro 14-inch touch button ID. Oh yeah, any of those Flex IDs, Flexes are terrible. Are there board views available for IP cameras, as in like security cameras? There might be. Have you checked in the XZZ torrent? There's so much in that torrent that I'll probably never get to browse at all. Yeah, it all comes down to in the end that he's decided that to choose that one metric as a measure of ultimate success, because obviously it suits, it puts him on pretty good footing, and that's fine, But it's not the only measure by any means, and more importantly, it's not the one that everybody cares about. If your business depends heavily on YouTube, then yeah, okay, you're gonna want to make sure that you've got some good numbers there. On the other hand, if it's a bit of a casual sideline, then you really don't give a crap. I mean, would it be nice to have more subscribers? Yeah, probably. And contrary to what Lewis Rossman said, the whole giving me a penguin gold coin. Come on, Lewis. Not that far out of the loop. Good God. I think I need to have more discussions with Lewis. I think he's very much lost track of who I am. I suppose this is the problem though. If you don't constantly yell at people about what you are, what you do, who you are and all that sort of stuff, then in that absence, in that void, they will create their own versions. Wong Wei, yeah, well, the feelings... I didn't have a feeling before, but now the feeling's somewhat mutual. It's just more like what on earth? What was the point? Why? I mean, I really do know. It's just all about the numbers. And as I said, I praise him for the fact that he knows what he's doing. He knows he's boasting his numbers like this. He's getting a great deal of exposure, massive amount of engagement, which is another reason why I can't be bothered going and interacting. So yeah, he knows what he's doing, but it's not what everyone else wants to do. Drama does work, yes. Alright, so we're just going to build a trace there. Nothing too difficult. Hey Pro Engineer, by the way, thank you for the contribution last night. And who was the other guy that contributed last night? Something UK, Riston UK? Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, I didn't see their contribution until too late, when I'd already closed the stream down, and I felt bad about that, so I do apologise. Hey Artfest. Mr. Hook's here. Hello Jim. No, Electro Rep, I don't think that's possible. You fail the one and only metric. Inconceivable. Joho, you're right about culture differences, that's fine. But this isn't about culture differences. Being blunt, yeah. I mean, we all have our styles and culture. Like when I was working over in South Africa, one thing that I found quite interesting was just how incredibly enthusiastic Indian business people were. They just completely out-enthused me on everything, and I just sort of had to run away half the time. It's like, I can't do any more, and they're like, no, come on, let's do this, work this deal out, let's go do this, we'll make money doing this. And I just couldn't do it. It was like, no, you're too much for me. Yeah, there was a very strong enthusiasm to do business deals, do business fun things. Yes, Joseph Neal, that's it, yeah. So yeah, there's culture differences in the way that you present information to people, but presenting it bluntly, I think this is the other thing, is when people present things bluntly, assertively, like with full of confidence and things like that, it portrays the image of it being the truth, or something. But it's not really always the truth. The truth is its own thing. And the problem comes when people misconstrue confidence like that as truth. Oops. Stuff falling to the floor there. Yeah, Gadgets Clink. I don't know whether you're being facetious there or not for the sake of entertainment, but why ever not? I mean, you never know. You just might have a style of doing things that resonates with people, and that's important. That's the thing. Everybody's got their different styles, and some people resonate more than others, to larger audiences than others. Too much solder. Yeah. There was a big blob at the end there, like over here. I'll have to get rid of that. And I've got a vibration in the damn camera again that's really starting to tick me off. I do need to redo this workshop bench again. Alright, I keep forgetting what I was trying. Oh, that's right, this here. This is the chip select line, and I have a feeling it's maybe not selecting anymore. Oh, it looks like it might be alive. Okay, that one's still alive. What about this one? DJ Rusty Russ, thank you for the 10. Wait, didn't you do that the other day too? Well, thank you very much, good sir. Oh my goodness. Whatever this was that corroded it, it certainly spread around a bit. There is a little bit of narrowing on the neck on the exit here, so I'll run some leaded over it just to boost it up a little bit. Hey Q's. There is a good amount of truth in the way Lewis describes it. You do just start. I find, oh my goodness, this Tim Herman flux, I still got to get used to it. I find one of the most difficult things these days is to get started with stuff. Once I'm started, no problem. And it's a bit of a thing where once I get started, I actually will keep going for too long because I don't want to have to try and start again. So finding that initiative to get started is such a rarity that you fear not being able to get it again. Would that corrosion migrate under the chip to the balls? Sometimes it can, and it does. But in this particular case, it's not going to be a real problem because these are just flat pads on the edge. It's not really going to go anywhere with this particular one. There's no undercutting that I can see. There will be other times where you can see that the corrosion start to undercut the part. And usually when that happens, I could say if it's on a resistor, you can typically push the end of the resistor like that just gently and it will pivot off. And then you go, yep, that was it. What sucks here is I'm probably going to have to bring out the ultrasonic cleaner again. I really don't want to do that. I packed that sucker away into the shed. Alright, so that's our primary corrosion. The main thing there was that one line that was broken. And that was for the DDR, for the memory voltage regulator. Let's see if we do any better now. Where are you? There you go. Okay. That's much better. That's fixed. Or at least I think it is. So it's doing the drop. Should come back up. There we go, back up. Should drop again. There we go, we're back down, and now it should come back and stay up. That is a proper boot. Yay, we fixed a $50 board. Oh well. You know. I'd say the predominant fault was this one here. Well, so I've got to check my PayPal. Alright, just give me a sec. First I've got to fix stuff. And then I will check the PayPal and I'll give thanks to the bread givers of PayPal. Meanwhile, I'm making a horrible mess here. I'm going to see if I can pull out a Joey Does Tech microfiber clean job on this one. And then I'll have to do the UV cure. Oh, sweet. The only trouble with microfiber cloths, of course, is that they snag on everything. Really, they're just terrible for snagging on absolutely everything. It's like having 10,000 cats. Yep, that sounded like someone's Land Rover. I mean, you got to admit, that's pretty good going, really. That's pretty good cleaning. I'm impressed by it. It's a simple technique, it works well. I'm not like rubbing the cloth back and forth, I'm just sort of wobbling it. Yeah, wobbling it back and forth. So it goes to show you can learn from anybody, anytime, anywhere. Ach nee, man. Sorry, did I say Land Rover or Land Cruiser? I'm pretty sure I said Land Cruiser, Toyota. And if you don't have a Land Cruiser Toyota, then you're allowed to have a Hilux or a BT50, as long as you trick those things out. And if you really want to be a bit eccentric and torment the boys, you can have yourself a Nissan Patrol. But you got to be strong if you're going to have a Nissan Patrol. You got to first, assert your. You got to be confident having one of those, because you will get kind of mocked quite a lot. Wait 60 seconds. I can catch up here. Yes, nice blue. I chose blue. The green's okay, but I prefer the blue. I wouldn't mind a Cybertruck here, that'd be cool. I know a lot of people hate them, but I'd be very interested to see what the 48 volt electrical systems are like, and their Ethernet comm systems. It's quite a different way of doing things. Is Martin heading out or is Jim heading out? We are getting some horrors in here, like the Ram 1500s and things like that. They're predominantly around here. There's even though we are in the rural area, they are still predominantly pavement princesses by the looks of what they're doing. And I see a few of them where they get blinged out to the max, and then 6 months later, all of a sudden they're up for sale. And then they list all the bling bling features that they paid for that no one else really wants, and they're expecting some ludicrously high price for it because it's new and I blinged it out. And so everyone else is like, well, we didn't want the bling and it's not that new, so give it to us half price. It's Jim's birthday tomorrow. Oh, Jim, happy birthday for tomorrow. Will you be 22 tomorrow? $22 for the 40th time or something like that. Hey, B-Blood. BMWs, I'm more than happy with that. I do like my 320 E36 series. I still very much am liking the E36 design. Obviously, it's impractical to have one now because they're so old that over a quarter of a century old. They're 30 years old now. It's ridiculous. Everything's out of date. But it was the styling that I quite liked. The E36. The subsequent releases were a little bit too soft, in my opinion, for me. There's just something about that slightly boxy look. Kind of reminds me of the Volvo estates that they used to race in touring cars. Is the stream glitching? I'm not showing any issues here. Everything seems good here. The wife would like a Volvo XC30, which is the electric one. And I mean, honestly, it makes sense for us to get electric out here. I mean, we have got so much sun out here, just so much. And the nice thing is, if you can get V2G set up for it, then you're laughing. You just charge up your vehicle during the day with all the sun, and if you happen to have a blackout or something like that, or there's a power outage like we had a few months ago, it's fine. Just draw the power back out of the vehicle, and you're not going to run that vehicle. You're not going to use up that battery power in a hurry. I think a lot of people don't realize just how big those EV batteries are. Like if you take, say, a 60 kilowatt hour battery, and that's medium. If you are running, say, just your fridge, some lights and things like that, then chances are you should be able to power the house for at least 4 days before you get to the risk point. Which one though, Zoltan? Because there's quite a few. Like I know the 40 was really more of just they just took their ICE version and just slapped a electric engine. But I think the 31 they built as an electric, and it does make a difference if you design it around the drivetrain. One where it has HSV clubs, but oh, you're one of those people. Oh. People at work trying to convince me to swap for Renault Megane. Really? Nah. Well, if you got that here in Australia, then yeah, I'd say your Club Sport's going to hold its value much better. How do you live with the stereotype being a Commodore driver? How do you sleep at night with that? I'm I drive a Falcon BA because the Barra engine is the best engine ever. So, although I got to say though that the BA, in terms of ergonomics, it lost a lot coming from the EF. The Falcon EF was just like the best in terms of long driving ergonomics. That thing was just like a beautiful couch on wheels. You could drive all day, like 18-hour drive, and you'd be perfectly well rested in the EF. But the BA, I'm kind of like, I feel like I get pushed off to the side a bit. It's not as cozy. Yeah. B58 greater than Barra. Oh, we've got a war. We're going to warring here. War, we're declared. I mean, okay, yeah. The BA, the big thing going for the Barra is it's just predominantly as a consumer car in its stock state. It's such a bulletproof engine. That's where the EF sucked a little bit because they had the torque to yield bolts in them, and they definitely did have a bit of a run where they would pop them, and you'd be just driving along and then out go would be a bolt, and if you're unlucky, it would start dancing around in your timing chain area, and then some horrible noises come out. And then you'd spend the next couple of weekends with your bonnet off, rags everywhere, bolts everywhere, probably buying 3 or 4 10mm sockets because you keep losing it. Why do the 10mm just keep disappearing? I don't know, but they certainly do. Barras respond well to forced induction. I've never, like I said, I've never worked one. I had a friend, well, I do have a friend, and his passion were the Cortinas because, the Cortina was like this mid-body sedan, but they stuck the 4-litre 4.2 in it. It was just like a ludicrous combination. Of course, you destroy the hell out of your diffs and everything. Then you go and upgrade the diff, but then you destroy the clutch, so you go and upgrade the clutch, and then you destroy something else. Yeah, so it's a constant game of what will I break today. Because around that time I was mostly riding motorbikes. The EF and EL were speed limited, were they? What were they limited to? No, I never tested it. I mean, 110, 120 was about it. Yeah, the 10mm thing is just weird because I know, and I know everybody else knows, that you just lose them for some reason. And they're not that small that they just roll away or anything like that. And where the hell are they all going to? Like, do they meet up with socks at the corner bar or something? So you have this socket and socks. sounds like a sounds like a rural dance gathering. Hey, Nicotas Metax, what is it? Metaxas? From Greece. Oh, right. Good. We've got some Greek people in here. Even I've got some Greek background. Oh, you wouldn't know visually. That's because it's not genetic. Alright, I think we're good to try our luck, don't you think? I think we've done everything. Can't see any wayward screws. Okay, so we've got our first pulse, here comes the second pulse. And now we should get a bong. And there's our bong. Where's our display? Oh, the Apple display. No, the battery's very flat. Hopefully we don't have a sensor failure anywhere, but it's looking like it's doing good. It's charging up nicely. Hey, David Willits. Wilnut. Welcome. Oh, this really is taking time. It could be just cleaning up the file system. It just takes a while. It's not doing too bad, that's 60 watts it's pulling, so its battery must be in reasonably good health. But it may be that the file system itself is being clobbered a little bit. Yeah, here we go. We're on board now. It's either that or it's at 0/1%. Once this is booted, I will then restart it with my test USB stick, and we'll go through the things of checking the display and stuff like that. And it's stalling up again. The fan's not going crazy, so I'm fairly hoping sure it's just reorganizing its file system. I've got the pinwheel. Let's see, Dan, you have a family member 2015 Air, battery is cooked, what would you recommend as a quality replacement? You're in Australia? Sorry, Dan, if I've got that wrong. If you're in Australia, I just get them from Broadway Computers. They're pretty quick to ship. They've got reasonable prices. They've got good warranty return in most cases. Most of my stock comes from them. I even get 1932, 2179 batteries from them, and they're mostly okay. What? Joe? He's calling him Bay. Oh man, yeah. That's just him trying to get a rise out of Siren. I can't imagine Siren would take that bait. Yeah, that's just. Yeah, we know who the baby is here. Okay, the battery's at 1%. So that explains why it's taken its time. I'm just going to shut this down. Hey, creature. Really? Crybaby? Oh my goodness. That's just being petulant. I did watch the Soren response, and I thought the Soren response was actually quite good. Soren was just sort of like, hey, look, we do things differently. You had a bit of a jab, no harm, no foul. I'm not upset. You do you, and don't hate me because I'm beautiful, sort of thing. Yeah, I thought that was a perfectly good response in my opinion. And for him to be calling him a crybaby, it's like, come on now. Now you're being petulant. But like I said, it's all feeding into his plan anyway, which is to generate talk, generate views, generate more counter videos. It's unfortunately he is being smart. He's working smart at the cost of everybody else's sanity. Let's see, wrong one. Drama farming. That's a good term. I like that one. Yeah, Soren's response was great, and I think that's probably what upset him. maybe that's half the problem, is that the people that he chose to name, I don't think many of us are the sort to resort to hysterics in reply. I think most of us are just sort of like, whatever. So we're getting on with our lives. Do you mind? On the upside, I've got a couple of hundred extra subs now, so I'm not complaining either. I still don't even know how the hell I got onto his radar in the first place. It's like, I don't go out looking for this sort of thing. And Lewis Rossman really hasn't made any mentions of me in a long time that I'm aware of, or at least nothing significant. And for the most part, that's the other thing. Rossman's mentions of me were not to build my YouTube channel, so even though he would say, go join Paul's channel, whatever. A lot of the exposure there was central to open board view and flex board view, so it was about the software development, software awareness, and the tooling and things like that I was making at the time, and still am, as opposed to, hey, here's an entertainer. Because realistically, the people who engaged with, or the people who really liked Lewis Rossman's streams at the time, are very much not the sort of people that, or the bulk of them, I should say, are not the sort of people that would find my channel entertaining. And I've often found this when you have channels promote another channel, the transfer rate is extremely poor, because most of the time the people there are watching you for your channel. We're not really interested in someone else's stuff. So about, you might get 0.1% transfer, and that's about it. He mentioned, I know, but I mean, just to get onto NRF's radar in the very first place. Might charge me a bench fee, geez, yeah. Rossman was the one that really initially was pushing the whole no bench fee concept, and that was back when we had a glut of jobs at hand, and we could afford to take those hits because there were so many other successful jobs coming in, like, just got to do a backlight chip, or just got to change a cap, that sort of thing. A lot of the jobs were straightforward. We had machines we could work with that had a high success rate, and so having a no fix no fee policy was a good way to get those people to lower the barrier of hesitation towards sending your valuable device into someone, because it was a fairly new concept for a lot of people to do that, particularly through mail order, even though for many years mail order was the only way of doing things. So that worked to kind of break down that barrier, ease people through to it. But then after a while, as things became more difficult, it was obvious that we had to go for the bench fee policy, because additionally you would have, if you were doing business to business jobs, you would have businesses who just simply throw everything into a box and throw it at you and say, here you go, fix these for me. And because you had a no fix no fee, you could spend a whole day going through a whole bunch of shit jobs that were not fixable. So you were effectively slave labor. You're effectively slave labor for that other business, and there wasn't really anything you can do about it because you had this no fix no fee policy. So that went out the window very quickly once the market started drying up a little bit, and also once there were a lot more gold diggers in the arena. So the whole charge of bench fee is nothing new by any means. This looks like I've been missing lots of chat here. Thank you, Golden Badger. I see you were on there earlier talking about flux and questioning flux. Okay, so this is my diagnostic stick that I use for older Macs. So it just lets you go through, check that things are doing okay. Various bits of software that are written for it, like keyboard tester, which I know sounds kind of silly, but it's really handy because of the fact that you can just, with MacBooks, just go along and swipe the keyboards like this, smash all the random keys, and you should, okay, escape's good, cap locks is good. And all of these other ones, they are not part of this, so that's all good. This keyboard's fine. And then we check the audio. Okay, what have we got? We appear not to have audio, or I can't hear it. No, we did. We had a bong, didn't we? Wait, we got a problem. All right. Microphone works. It's interesting. We had a bong at the startup, but we do not have any audio here. That's something. Alrighty. Looks like we've found a fault. Shut down. Hey, Graham. Okay, let's see if we get a bong again when I fire up. Well, that's just weird, isn't it? Grok says it can do optical analysis of circuit boards, future repair. You sort of can. Like if you get a board and you clean it up, you take all the dust off and things up, put it through a scanner, and you've got a reference board, then you can do a visual analysis to see if anything looks different. But I think what you'll run into there, which is common of a lot of these sort of ideas, is that your false negatives are going to be quite high. And then you'll spend almost as much time in the prep work, the scan work, and then chasing and filtering through the false negatives. Now, at some point, it may become good enough that it starts to become superior to the false negative cost. I will run the valley test and see if that makes any noise, but this is really weird. But again, this is why I do the testing, because if you think you've fixed a board up and you send it back and it's got another issue, particularly on like this, you're going to be extremely disinclined to touch it again. Oh yeah. That's crazy. It bongs, but it doesn't. Wow. What's the dealio? I'll see if it's generating anything on the 3.5mm output. Let's see. Plug the soundbar in. What the hell? Okay, I think I know what's wrong. Someone's broken off something in the... yeah, okay, thank you. Someone's broken off something in the headphone port. What? My face went, what? Someone's going to screenshot it. What do we got? Oh, yeah. Nice. Alright. Good job. We'll just drill that sucker out. Fortunately, that's actually a very pleasant break, that one. Not a fan when people go at these with their tweezers and all sorts of pliers, and oh my goodness. People have their different techniques. I like this one. It usually works for me. Usually. Worst case scenario, I can just pop it out from the inside. There we go. Lovely. Now we might actually get some proper audio. People have, yeah, there could be a bit of screaming trying that technique. What is that though? That's not a jack. That's like a, I don't even know what that is. It's like a ferrule, or whatever you want to call them, a shoelace ferrule thing. Yeah, because it's not a jack. Oh. But interestingly, it does have two little copper wires in it, so I don't know what the hell that is. Child damage, yeah. I'll go with that for sure. Aglet, is that what you call it? From ball tip pen. But why has it got two wires in it? Alright, let's see how we go now. Mucho better. Brilliant. Okay. We're good now. Put the lid on it and call that a win. It's very handy having a diagnostic sort of process at the end there, just to check things off. If we hadn't, then that would have gone back to the customer and they said, "There's no sound." And to be fair, they probably would have taken it back to the place that sent it to me, and they would have had an inspection and they would have found that. But at least this way, it's already out of the way, and nobody gets the sensation of being disgruntled. Oh, Miles, come on, man. You know that's my bread and butter, and I gotta eat. Okay. Where's the green pen? Green pen, where are you? Green pen has run away because the green pen... Ah, found it. Green. And in this case, yeah, why not? Let's put that obscure part into a baggie. You don't need to get the multimeter out, then is it really a repair? Well, that's kind of like, what are we doing? Tree in the woods falling down stuff now? Okay. Okay, what do we got? Time to look at the stickers. 1706, having issues detecting drive, comes up question mark. Yeah, yucky. Okay, we'll do that. It's yucky, so we'll do it. Needs a clean. To be fair, my guess for this would likely be we're just going to have classic corrosion, and it's probably taken out the Piccolo chipset, and hopefully that's all it's done. Yeah, just inhibited the Piccolo from working properly. If we're unlucky, it has already destroyed the NANDs. Dead CPU. That's not what it's going to be, Teresa. You're getting as bad as Miles. (1706s), nice machines, but they are definitely getting a bit old now. The biggest problem tends to be just atmospherical corrosion with them. The 1706 along with the 1707 were the kind of like Apple's attempt at still being civil to repairing and getting data off. Because, you know, you could get the data off these with the, what do you call it, lifeboat connector. Not always, though, I should point out. Sometimes it was just too late. Okay, so we do have corrosion. I'm not going to bother powering this up. I sort of know the area I want to go to. The batteries are just on their last legs. They're starting to show the pre-pimpling stage, which is about right. I mean, it's starting to hit almost 10 years old. Probably the worst thing about these, though, is the batteries don't have a separate flex. They're integrated to the battery. And so if you damage this flex, it means you've got to replace the battery. And it's a nuisance. Creature, with these ones, they do tend to... Yeah, it's a tough... Sometimes it's corrosion, sometimes it's cap, sometimes it's both. But it's the same issue that comes with this sort of design, is that the intake's been on the edge and they stick the V-regs, well, they don't filter anything out of that, so you get this dust build-up, which then turns into conductive swampland. Wait, don't need to take these out. You get so used to having to take these little plastic bumpers out that when you don't have to, you still do it. Whoops. It would be nice to have someone who can disassemble and reassemble these machines on my behalf and just give me the boards. I mean, the amount of time that would save, just being able to focus on things. But there is a downside. The downside is that there are many a time where you'll be able to make a diagnosis of a machine just simply by opening it up, having a look at it initially, and you can potentially lose the hints that guide you to the solution if you are not the one doing the disassembly. So you kind of want someone who knows their stuff to do the disassembly so they can spot those issues. But then if you've got someone like that, you're probably not going to have them doing the disassembly. Already have a big boss called... Yeah, they boss me around. Feed us. I think that's everything. Yeah, tide marks, stuff like that. Yeah, just all the little subtle hints. Definitely not a fan of the way they did the speaker assemblies on the side here for the cabling. It's just too tight. But Apple does that on quite a few of these machines. You know, 1708, 1706. I think it's 1707. But yeah, it's a bit of a signature move by them. 2159. 2338s. Yeah, they just... It's like, oh, let's make it difficult. And of course, with the Touch ID on-off button, you can't just rip at that sucker. You do have to get a little bit of heat. Just a little, not a lot. You don't want to go melting that piece of plastic. There we go. Let's go. Yeah, if you try to rip out that, it can end badly. Okay. Like here is already asking for food, but still 20 minutes too early for premium. You know, they'll push their luck every day. It's like when we bring Milo, we'll bring all ours in for the night to be kept inside. And straight away, Mo goes to the door and says, "We go out again?" It's like, no. Alright, so we begin the journey now. Yeah, so this is... Okay, so there's trash, this is classic. This is what I'm talking about, environmental corrosion damage. You can see the line. Now, very often with this particular model, this cap under here will be shorted. And in this particular case, it's not. It's got a bit of corrosion on it, but it's nothing that's going to be causing the SSD issue. This here is the SSD power section, the Piccolo. So we have to have a look around that. I've got to tell you, it's not looking bad enough yet. I'm not sure I would put my suspicions here for too long. So we'll carry on with the rest of the board. What the fuck? How does this thing run? Did that just go open circuit or so? I've got to test to see if that's open. That's well, that's one cap that decided to have a tantrum. What the? You know what I don't get is where's the damage? What's okay? The story is incomplete here. Now, let's see. Yeah, the story is incomplete because there is no damage here. You do not blow a cap like that and not have damage. Where's the remnants? 50% chance that is not shorted. Because normally that kind of damage, when you take the board out, you will see that on the chassis. You will see that. That would have melted something. Yeah, that's not shorted. This board has a story to tell that we don't know. What it could be is that maybe periodically that does short still. But I don't know if that's on the right rail. Anyway, we'll bring this up. This is a 239 or 923. But yeah, that's been there a while and something's changed. Maybe it's gone into Apple and had a keyboard replacement under the butterfly key replacement program. But yeah, that doesn't add up properly. Which actually just makes it all the more interesting to me. It's like a murder mystery where you have this body but there's no blood anywhere. Alright, so it's this one over here. I'm pretty sure it's that one there. C7900. Now, where did my... Who took my schematic? Oh, that's interesting. And you're on PB Bus HS CPU. Wow. Well, fortunately, yeah, that's fortunate. At least it wasn't something that was going to drive 18 volts into the CPU. But that's still weird. Obviously that's going to have to be removed at the very least, or replaced. But I'm kind of curious if there's something else to be found on this board. We need a secret reveal spell here. Where's Snape when you need him? Get him to reveal your secrets. I mean, yeah, maybe that's the fault, but losing 33... Okay, yeah, I can see there was corrosion up there. I'm just sort of quickly scanning down. Losing 33 microfarads of capacitance is not a big amount really in the grand scheme of things on this board for that rail. So I find it very hard to join those dots up. Very hard to sort of go, okay, yep, we've got a cap that's blown, it must be the fault, but it just doesn't quite make sense. This, on the other hand, is more of a concern. I don't know if you can see that, but there's a bit of a burnish hot mark on there. So what does that control? Revelio, oh yeah, that's right. Although, wasn't it something more specific than Revelio? Yeah, now we're getting pedantic about Harry Potter spells. Fantastic. Okay, so it's 4200 that we're looking at. Okay, 4200, and what are you? Berkelium. Yeah, that's a pretty general system on chip. RAM. It's not really what I would consider to be a cause either for the SSD, unless the misbehavior of the SSD is just due to failure to initialize properly. Okay, we're dropping frames. Yeah, we're dropping frames severe. Okay, just gonna find out what's sucking up the CPU here. Open broadcaster again. Wow, OBS is really becoming a pain in my backside lately. I'm gonna have to do an update and see what's going on. Okay, just stand by while I restart OBS again. Should be back. No, well, I could feel the mouse slowing down, so I definitely knew something was chewing, because at the moment the scheduler prioritizes the background processes rather than the user interface. So if the user interface starts getting hit, I know that something's beginning to chew pretty hard. And in this case, it was OBS. Yeah, I'm having a hard time really pinning a culprit here. So I mean, okay, yeah, that's got some burnishing marks on it, but once again, not 100% convinced. I really was expecting something in the piccolo area. And it's difficult with these scenarios. Okay, you can fix some stuff, but can you declare it as fixed? I mean, no doubt you could ship it and say, yep, it's fixed, and just sort of, hope for the best. If the customer comes back saying it's not working anymore, then you can just sort of go, oh, you must have dropped it or something. You can't prove that you didn't drop it. And earn yourself a nice 1-star review. Okay, let's have a look at top side. Yeah, I'd love to get a history on this machine and find out what happened, because definitely that cap has no remnants left on that keyboard. Yeah, we've got a bit of spluttering there. I've honestly got nothing really to blame other than, and I can't even really fully blame that cap. I wonder if I poke it a little, if it will go short. Did you leave a comment on the Alex rant? Not the latest one. I did on the original one. I left a comment and it kept floating to the top, which probably pissed him off. No, that's just residual charge. Ugh, come on, man. Do better, Paul. It's not easy trying to. No, I can't induce anything pressing it, so it's not physically sensitive. Well, I'll still get it out of there. I'm not going to replace it though. I better watch out though. I might get one of the people who was ranting at Graham about not replacing a cap. Yeah, heat might do the trick, but I'm not even gonna. Come on, Gold Wings, let's do our thing. Gotta love Gold Wings. They allow you to do naughty stuff like that. Okay, well, we know which side's the ground plane. See, the problem is if I try to replace this cap, chances are I'm going to knock out the other caps just from the hot air. Well, certainly I'm going to diminish their capacity. So it's a little bit pointless at this point. Clean this up. So the problem wow, sorry guys, sometimes I can't control my voice. The problem here is that this is one of those faults where unless it actually fails again, it's very difficult to prove that you fixed the fault. And believe me, you can keep it in your workshop for weeks at end, and you can test it, you can test it, you can test it, you can test it. And you will be able to say, okay, it has not failed to date, but that does not mean it won't fail. Graham, I'd like to see how it goes with that. I've never been really much of a fan of hot tweezers, particularly more a case of if they're on their own. If you couple them with some assistive heat, so preheating or whatever, yeah, they can work. But I found as a standalone, I haven't found too many successful ones. I think maybe the JBC ones can do it, but the Hackos never could. Because maybe it was just weak hack. I mean, we were in the FM203 set. Because a lot of the problem is that when you do get the tips that are fine enough to fit across those cap ends without interfering with anything else, then you don't have enough mass to be able to transfer the heat into the board in order to be able to get that solder to come free, to melt. I mean, if you get pulling big devices is, funnily enough, definitely easier than pulling small devices. Like there are caps on the back of the 1466 by the HS105 switch area, and you will not get them off in a hurry. Even though they're just itty bitty little 201s, they will not come free. Not without a solid amount of hot air. So certainly having the board on a preheater was the true solution, because most of us don't ever bother with that. We just add more hot air, apply hot air until desired effect occurs. But yeah, so at this point I'm finding it difficult to connect the dots to blame that cap. It's certainly a very interesting fault, but I'm not sure I can attribute the symptoms to it. Do you get easy pizzas? Nope. Oh wait, you meaning like easy jobs? Every now and then. Funnily enough, it's usually 2141s and 1990s that are my primary bread and butter for that kind of thing. I'm happy to get them in. Mostly because you're not going to spend too much time, in most cases, one way or another. You're either going to find that the nans are cooked within a few moments. Like if you get one of them and it shows up, okay, you got a 1 ohm or 2 ohm short on the 2V5 NAND side. You pull off the regulator and it goes to 3 ohms, then you're basically, okay, it's dead. And you just carry on, move to the next one. So they're nice for the fact that it's a micro insulin time. Might have to actually close up. We'll test this and then I'll probably call it a night, because I've actually got a lot of programming to get done tonight. Flexboard View is needing some new updates. I'm trying to migrate from C++ 17 standard up to C++ 20 standard, and for the most part it's okay, but for those of you who are programmers out there, C++ 20 standard brought in the char 8 type, which is essentially still char as in 8-bit, but it's a distinct type. And no longer can you do a lot of the things that you used to do with 17. And so when you go and compile your stuff, it all of a sudden just like spews errors everywhere. Now there are ways around it. You can do things like tell the compiler no char type 8 type, but you're kind of just kicking the can further down the road. So that's going to be my challenge for tonight. See if I can work it out. Where's my... here we go. Oh, don't like when it does that. 17's good. 17's very stable and dependable, but there are a lot of things now that I do want to use which are not available in 17. In this particular case, there's a, what is it, there you mo. There's a module called source location, I think it is, and I want to be able to use that because it facilitates in debugging a lot, but it's only in 2020 edition. Okay, so what are we doing here? We're charging, but we're not going anywhere yet. AI does... AI programming is kind of like the idea of scanning a board for optical examination, in that you probably spend more time dealing with the mistakes and the not quite rights than you do if you just simply did it yourself. Okay, flashing folder. We do indeed have flashing folder. Okay. This is interesting then. Let's see if it boots with this. Milo, you're gonna have to wait, buddy. I'm almost done. Okay, so we're booting on this. So the overall system is working fine, but we definitely have some kind of issue somewhere with regards to the communication. Now, I don't know whether it's a signaling issue in the sense of, say, we've got some of the SPI lines or data lines are not running properly, or it's a supply issue, as in we're not getting the right voltages to the NANDs. So I'm not sure which one that is, and it's a bit late for me to be diving into that kind of diagnosis now. But we'll get it booted, and I'm going to see if it can see the controller. So if it can see the controller, then we probably are going to have a VREG issue. Yeah, that color distortion that just happened there, that seems to be something that happens up now and then. Wouldn't interface class do the job? There wasn't an interface class, but a distinction, I think it was, distinction class could do it. Anyway, there's a method I'm trying at the moment, and it's sort of working, but not properly yet. And I think the painful thing is that this has got nothing to do with the whole Flexboard view, like the user interface, nothing at all. It's just the debugging back end. It's so that I can debug things better. Hey, Omeware. Computers restart because of a problem. Yeah, we just want to ignore that. Interesting. Oh no, it did click. That was very reluctant to click though. Select your Wi-Fi network. I don't like what it's doing here. Nope. It shouldn't be doing that. Let's try options again. Okay. Unfortunately, I can't get the brightness up because it's a touch bar. Hey, Tom Morgan. The boring part of the video. The slow professor is at it again. Boring. Not engaging people, I'm afraid. You're just not going to feel it in your hearts. Mo, is that you being a dork up there? Can't tell whether he's outside on the air conditioner or banging at the air vent at the door. Last time I seen that was a short on 3v3S4 system on chip PMU and that burn on the PMU. Really? Okay, so you found that was through that. Yeah, because I was looking for some issues with the Piccolo area, which of course generates it for the NANDs. I didn't really think about the SoC side, but like I said, there were the burn marks there that we noticed, but I was sort of not at that point able to make a connection between those burn marks, where they were just like, okay, it's starting to get a bit hot there, it's made a bit of a color difference. The other thing is sometimes you'll get greasy crumbs get sucked into the machine, and when they land on the top of those chips, they produce a similar sort of effect. Alex gave you a tip to take no-dos. Oh, well, that's a good idea. Yeah, sure. Alright, no. Okay, well, look, I'm going to pursue that those burn marks on the PMIC, but right now I've got to close up. It's past 10 o'clock at night, but at least I'll be able to attack this tomorrow. And thank you very much for who said that. Neo, yeah, thank you, Neo, for at least giving me that bit of information that then makes me think, okay, well, they are connected according to you. If they are not, and I replace that to no avail, then I will be coming for you. So yeah, hopefully you've made the right decision to give me that piece of advice. So that's it for tonight. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll try again for tomorrow, but this probably will already be sorted out one way or another, and we'll have different machines for tomorrow. Thank you again for watching. Now you can go off and wake up and enjoy your days. I'm sure Joey Does Tech is doing a video tonight in a few hours. And Graham, you're not doing any videos tonight, are you? No, you only do Saturday, if you're feeling like it. So, you all take care. Thank you again. See you on the next one. Catch you later.